How about when you returned like a gothic superhero in a mask? 95.
So we had to figure out a way. So I'd had a match with Mabel.
Mm-hmm.
And in the course of that match, he was coming off of one rope as fast as he could, and I was coming off the other rope.
Oof.
And I think it was going to be, I don't know if I was going to just eat a clothesline or if it was a double close. I don't remember actually what the spot was, but he was behind in the spot, and because he was a little bit gassed. And instead of throwing a clothesline, so he tried to compensate for being behind in the spot, and instead of a clothesline, he threw a punch. The punch hits me in the face, and his fist ends up kind of stopping in my eye socket.
Oh.
And it caused an orbital blowout fracture.
Was that number one?
This was the first one. Yes, this was the first one where I lost 90% of my orbital floor in that one. Had to have all of that surgically rebuilt and put back together.
You weren't hot, were you?
What's that?
You weren't hot, were you?
I might have been a little hot. But when I come back, I came back as fast as I could come back, and they wanted me to, which is pretty rare for that time period too. Like wanted to make sure that my face didn't get crushed again.
Yeah.
So that the mask was serving basically its main focus and main purpose was to protect my eye socket.
Protect the moneymaker.
But we didn't want it to look like, we didn't want it to look like, a basketball player when they break their nose and they got to wear
Batman.
So I had this guy make the mask, and it actually turned out it was a really cool part of my development, the character development. But when it was time to come out of it, I had to fight to come out of that thing. Vince loved it.
He wanted to keep you in it?
Yeah, he wanted to keep me in it for a while.
Rib. Probably a rib.
No, I think because it was really cool.
A whole nother mystique.
It
added like a whole nother
added
level.
another layer to the mystique of the Undertaker. But yeah, it was just there's a lot to that mask.
Let's look at it.
Yeah. So I do remember these. I don't remember if we settled. I guess we did on the lace up back, but so this was.
You look hot there. Like you're not trying to look scary. You're just being yourself with the mask on. Kind of like it.
Freak. I had to go to this guy's apartment in downtown New York City. Mm-hmm. His apartment was on the third or fourth floor. No lift, no elevator, nothing. Right. So. And that doesn't really sound like, well, what's the big deal about that? But, by this point, I'm already in, my hips are already getting shot. But so we go to this guy's apartment, and as I don't know.
You don't know him?
I don't know him at all.
Okay.
Like I meet him at his front door.
Oh.
And a little bit eccentric. And we start... He's got like his whole apartment is probably the size of this studio. Oh. And so he was actually still working. It's made out of leather.
So was it full of other stuff too?
Yes. His apartment. Yeah. There's stuff all over the place, but now he's giving me I guess he did a lot of musical costumes and stuff like that, and special masks for different shows, and so he's giving me the do's and don'ts of wearing a mask, this type of mask. Okay. He says you don't touch it. He says don't touch the mask when you work because the mask is part of you.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm And I'm like, okay. But it's not like he's just telling me this. I mean, he's really animated.
He's worried about the mask too.
And he's worried about yes, he's worried about, which I appreciate. I do appreciate it. And I probably listened to him, but just meeting this guy and this whole circumstance of him putting a mold on my face, and I'm in this strange apartment in New York City, and I'm laying there and I've got this mold material on my face.
This sounds horrible.
With the straws in
You're
the
in a very
nose so I can
vulnerable position.
breathe. And it was, this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same guy that ended up building or making Kane's mask, original mask.
Oh.
So yeah, so I get the lecture on how the mask etiquette.
Is that top on the back of it? It laced up like that in the back? Was it like what is that?
You know what?
the
I
back of
keep
your head?
wanting to think that I changed that, but I'm not certain. It may have been
That's
a big
a
lace
lot.
up.
Wow.
Well, you just you untie the bottom, like in a mask like that. You just untie the bottom and loosen them up like
Right.
like you do your shoes. But I don't think that I don't really think
That's
that
a
I
lot.
like that.
Yeah.
I just can't remember, but I much preferred the way like Mick he did Mick's mask, I think, as well. I could be mistaken on that, but where you just strap it on and
Right.
not have to lace it all up. But
Well, that's wild though. How much that looks like you.
right, well, yeah, me with a
Yeah.
big scary mask. So yeah, that's the clay mold
That's
that
pretty
he's
cool though. Making inside his apartment. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, so when I come back to work,
Okay.
I'm wearing that, and then he paints it obviously, and it looks like kind of like the Phantom of the Opera. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can tell that's a mask there, but that one on the
other
bottom,
one you
it really
couldn't
doesn't.
really-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like.
That looks like, yeah. Because you really can't except right there around the mouth.
And then he painted it like I wore my face back then too. So
And now let's take a look. Is everyone well at that face? Wait a minute.
I talked for so long, I forgot this is Survivor Series. So
Yeah, your team. You're actually teaming with Savio, Fatu, or Quiche, and then Henry Godwin. Which that's a good little group, huh? Fun group, I should say.
this is already the end of it. Yeah, I don't even think So yeah, I did have the lace up. I just saw it right there. So I kept that's Triple H right there.
Whoa. Nice.
He always took a really good choke slam.
Nice. That was really good. You had like your own little Avengers group. Very
Avengers?
speaking of eclectic mask
Well, so
maker,
what
eclectic
I'm like
group.
the dead guy. I got the hillbilly guy.
Yep. Savio and then Quiche.
Yeah, nobody got eliminated. That was a clean sweep.
Strong four there. So it was y'all four, and then you had what? The King. You had Lawler, right? Lawler, Mabel,
Triple H, and
Isaac Yankum.
Oh, that's right, Isaac Yankum.
Isaac
he would go
Yankum.
on to have a fairly good career. Not as Isaac Yankum,
But as your
your I would adopt
brother.
my brother Kane.
Yeah. So do you remember working with the other guys that much? I mean, that team in particular?
I remember working with all
Y'all
those
had-
guys. Yeah. Obviously, I remember working with Mabel because I lost an eye socket, so that always kind of stood out. And obviously, my matches with Triple H they only went uphill from that one. And then I had some pretty good matches with Yankum Kane Yankum.
I guess you could say, yeah. Yankum Kane.
Yankum Kane.
Okay.
It's amazing that he survived after Isaac Yankum, but he did.
He did.
Yeah.
He only had one way to go, probably, in his mind.
There was only one way to go after Yankum.
True.